style joke. Live from New York, it's the show that is Pat Riley 2.0. What a report. How do you go from being Pat Riley 2.0 to not getting the job?
Man,
Anything?
that Pee Wee basketball team is going to be on fire with Pat Riley 2.0 next year.
He might get another job. Who knows?
You think JJ's going to get another job?
Who knows? All right, I got a lot to say. Bear with me. No, it would not be a home run hire, number one.
Wow.
PR-wise, sure. You win the press conference. They've won today, right? Everybody just thinking they might get Danny Hurley or Dan Hurley. They have won that.
Also,
okay?
game one of the finals, like, yes.
Well, what about
Remember, they didn't want to hire JJ
Exactly.
ahead of time. They want to
gosh.
distract from the finals instead this. But
Yes. Now, look, Hurley is a phenomenal coach. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
no
curious
ifs,
what your answer
yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is awesome. I'm just not sure this is the right NBA fit for him. I was talking, and I talked to some people today in the league who felt the same way I do. And I'm not saying he would go here, but a Cleveland where they're a little younger, they haven't really done much yet. Yeah. Donovan Mitchell's there, obviously, but teams like that. Look, people have told me his practices, we all know, are really intense. They're really hard, militaristic precision. One person who's familiar with both of these coaches told me his practices are way harder than Tom Thibodeau. And we know a lot of players don't even want to play for Thibodeau. All right, so he gets after it in practice. And how's that going to sit with LeBron and AD in particular?
You don't think that would potentially be adjusted, that's situational?
Maybe, but he's 51 years old and he's coached that way his whole life. I mean, he could try to adjust, but can he? Like, he's also used to practicing way more than coaching games. All right, so in the NBA, it's flipped. You can't practice that hard in the NBA, particularly when your one star, AD, is injury prone. The other, LeBron, is 40 years old. All right, so I think that could be a factor. And if you say, okay, I'm not going to practice LeBron and AD as much, or I'm not going to jump on them and yell at them like I do the other players, because we know he's a yeller and a screamer. All right, how's that going to sit with the other players? Well, NBA coaches have always told me, Popovich said it publicly, thank you, Tim Duncan, for letting me coach you. Because the fact that he could jump on Duncan put everybody else in line. I actually had one coach tell me before, he went to his star player before practice and said, look, I'm going to jump on you today. I'm going to be all up in your face, but it's for these other guys. It's nothing to do with you. Because that's what you do. Yeah. And so if he can't get on LeBron and AD like that, how's that going to sit with the other guys? The third thing is the offense. Now, his offense at UConn is beautiful, but it's a ton of ball movement and player movement. LeBron, I think that would have been awesome for LeBron earlier in his career. Now, at 40, LeBron's never played in offense. He's going to be going setting screens and stuff like that. Now, the thing about Hurley, he is maybe a basketball genius, and so is LeBron. And I think that, Hurley hasn't always coached this way. Right. At Rhode Island, early at UConn, it wasn't quite the same offense. So he probably can adjust an offense to LeBron and AD. So, and I don't want to kill it completely because I think it's great for Bronny if they draft. Like, I think it's great for Bronny to help him develop. I think it's great for the role players. Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, all these guys, Vanderbilt. Like, I think they will all improve. So I like it. I mean, it's not anything to do with his coaching. I'm just wondering about his demeanor, his style of coaching. Is that going to sit well with the stars? And you guys know, outside of Billy Donovan, who hasn't lit the league on fire, and Brad Stevens, the list of college coaches to do well. Lon Kruger, John Calipari, Fred Hoiberg, John Beilein, I don't even think he lasted a season, and Rick Pitino, who was a legend. It's a different animal.
That part's true. It sounds almost to me like you would like this a little more for if LeBron weren't on the Lakers.
Yeah, and I don't want to blame it on LeBron. I'm just saying at 40, you're somewhat set in your ways. But yes, and AD, a lot of people think AD is not going to be, is going to be an issue too.
And LeBron has, the one thing that has been reported consistently is that LeBron's advice has been, make this coaching hire based on Anthony Davis, not based on me. And I do think there's a lot, I am far more optimistic or positive on what it would mean for the Lakers if they were to hire him. I think I am far more pessimistic on this actually happening than almost anybody.
Oh.
I just don't totally buy it. Now listen, if Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss are able to do this, I will come on TV and say I underestimated you. I have been highly critical of a lot of the way that team does business, particularly in lowballing coaches and particularly in being short-sighted on coaching searches, and you guys surprised and impressed me. So I am opening myself up to being a classic Category 3 dead wrong. I recognize that. I don't buy it. I think that J.J. Redick is going to be the next head coach of the Lakers.
Wow.
And I think that I don't think this is made up. You know what I mean? I think
no,
that
it's clearly
I think
legit,
that but there is an extra element of this story, which is our two most reliable media basketball reporters being diametrically opposed on it. Shams, Woj's former protege and now rival, if you care about that type of stuff.
Real.
I mean, that is very real. And I have massive respect for both of them for what they do. Shams has been saying it's JJ's job for quite some time, to the point of JJ filling out his staff.
Even JJ yesterday
on the Goal Licks kind of gave,
done.
it was a weird wink and a nod, like, I'll address that after the finals. Woj then comes in over the top rope saying, at middle of the night, basically, they are going after Hurley. I believe that Woj is correct. They are going after Hurley.
And they were always going. Like, Woj added,
he said,
everything else.
Right.
And Woj has great relationship with Pelinka and with the Hurleys.
Well, right. Exactly. So I would just ask this question.
Mystery.
I would just ask this question.
For you.
Who benefits the most from this story being out there, even if the Lakers don't get him? Well, Dan Hurley probably gets a raise, and Rob Pelinka saves face. And it's like, hey, don't say we didn't try.
Yep.
We did everything we could to pry away a guy no one thought would leave. That wasn't on anyone's radar. We did everything, so I guess we're going to have to hire JJ, but we're happy with JJ anyway. So I am on national TV right now putting myself available to be dead wrong within hours. Like, he could be hired any moment. I recognize that. And if they get it, I like it. I'm not as skeptical as Brew is on certain things. I think you raised legitimate concerns, but I also think LeBron likes to be coached. I also think that Anthony Davis, maybe, hopefully, there is more development there. And I do think that in the Woj's point of in the modern NBA, modern meaning post-second apron CBA, having to develop your own players, being critical.
But look at all those teams. Boston developed Tatum and Brown. OKC is developing guys. You know, like, it's not, they didn't have a 40-year-old superstar and a
But I'm
AD
talking about long-term being able to turn
I agree with that.
role players. And, you know, so I've been very impressed by Hurley, because the other big difference between Hurley and a guy like Coach Cal, Coach Cal's biggest attribute was recruiting. I can just get all the best players. Dan Hurley's not a bad recruiter, but Keta and I looked at it today. UConn has vastly outperformed their recruiting rankings because of player development. So I like all of that. I would be shocked if the Lakers land this plane. If they do, props to them.
Well, look, there's a theory. Again, I said I was talking to some people in the league and texting with some people in the league. One theory that some have is that Hurley wants a raise from UConn. He's only making a little over $5 million a year. Okay, so he wants a raise from UConn, and the thinking is that JJ wants to be paid huge money. Budenholzer's getting $10 million a year. You see what Monty Williams is getting with Detroit. He wants huge money, which the Lakers don't necessarily want to give, and so you put this. This is out. Oh. You're not even the first choice, so you need to be happy with this contract. That's just a theory that some people have, because there are a group of people that feel like you do, Nick.
That it was floated. They want Jay Kidd, and Jay Kidd's like, still coaching under contract, but I'll take contract extension, Dallas. Ty Lue's who they're after, and it's like, the richest owner in all of sports is under contract with him, but he got a huge contract extension out of it. We'll see. We'll see. I think it will be a great move if they get it. It'll be bad for you. I want you to be able to go. I know we went too long here, but you love UConn. You love Dan Hurley.
I'm thinking about coaching the Lakers. I know Witt just got on that plane. I'm thinking about it.
You would do it for less than $10 million. Maybe not a lot less.
Not a lot less.
Yeah, but less. A little bit less. Yeah.
Get all the money you can because you wouldn't last.
All right, so how would Hurley work with LeBron? Okay, so LeBron said, love it. He's so darn good. Along with his staff, super creative with their offense. I absolutely love it. Brew, your reaction obviously ran like a very complicated and effective offense. So do you think this makes LeBron more or less likely to stay in LA?
Well, more. I mean, I don't think he's leaving anyway. If they don't get Dan Hurley and it's J.J. Redick, like obviously I think he's fine with that as his podcast partner. So I don't think there's very much chance of him leaving anyway. But I would say this helps. Like, if there's been a lot of talk that they're going to draft Bronny, even in relation to this, because Hurley would be great at helping develop Bronny. I think that would mean a lot to LeBron if that's the case. Can
I just stop you for a second? That is really odd.
What?
That we're making our head coaching. The
No, I don't think
marquee
that's the
franchise
one
in the
reason.
NBA is like, well, we have the star, and we're going to get his son, so we need someone to develop him, take him from you.
I don't think that's the main reason.
Odd. I think that would be an added benefit.
Yeah,
I think that part of it makes it more attractive to LeBron than a different random coach.
But how much of Hurley's pie of time is he spending on developing
Well, it's not going to be
James?
Hurley. It will be his assistants working with Bronny.
I mean,
like
how
that.
much of his pie of time, of any head coach's pie of time, is spent on developing your 1 or 2 draft picks? Which is what it would be. You know what I mean? Very little.
You'll get a lot of good teaching. No, that's made, like, I think LeBron would obviously be. He's obviously got fondness for Hurley and respects him. So, yeah, I definitely don't think this would be something that drives him out of LA.
No, I think it would help and not hurt. And I also reject you said something, Brew, that I hear a lot of people say that I don't know is necessarily true. Which is, LeBron would be thrilled with JJ coaching him because they're the podcast together. I say this with you two are the best 2 people I've ever worked with. I love working with you guys. But if I'm like, hey, I'm launching a production company and they're considering Brew running it, I'd be like, well, I don't know that he's good at that. You know what I mean? Like because.
And I'm not saying LeBron's pushing for JJ.
You actually could do it because you used to do that stuff. That's why
I'm just saying, like,
you actually, I would try to.
I don't think LeBron would say, really?
No, I don't think
really
he would have an allergy to JJ
That's
Redick.
what I'm saying.
But I don't necessarily. I think he'd be fine with it. I don't necessarily know that it's a draw. I don't know that hiring JJ, it's like, now I'm definitely saying. I think that for LeBron, to me, is clearly signaling to the Lakers repeatedly, I'm not certain what I'm doing. Now, maybe he is certain, but the messaging he's giving has been, I'm not certain. Maybe it's just leverage, or maybe he's not certain. Because if his goal is to win another championship, I think there are at least 2 and maybe 3 teams out east that would love to have him, that could make it work, and where he would have a more logical path to winning the championship than anywhere out west that he realistically could go. Because you could say with the Lakers, and you have Anthony Davis, but man, the West is hard. And then there's the 2 old teams you could theoretically join in Phoenix or Golden State. And to me, it's a similar boat where it's like, yeah, you have a really good A-level teammate, but against this Western Conference of youth and athleticism, or if you go to Philly, or if you go to the Knicks where you have established really good coaches, or if it's more about storybook stuff, you go to Cleveland and try to find your way through.
Knicks would be storybook.
Yeah, the Knicks would be storybook as well. I just think Cleveland, different type of story. I think that's a real decision for LeBron James. And I think he is trying to be fair to the Lakers in their major decision of, guys, base it all around the guy who you have under long-term contract who's 10 years younger than me. Don't base it around me because I'm not certain. Even if I think I'm going to be here, I'm not certain. And I don't want to then all of a sudden, be the bad guy because you hired a coach for me and I'm a free agent and I decided, you know what? I want to try to win a ring with a 4th different team. That'd be unbelievable. You know, whatever it is, because I don't think he's dead set certain what he's doing.
Okay, well, let's dig in on if the Lakers can win a championship. Here's a look at rookie head coaches to win the title since the merger. We've got 2 Lakers on there: Westside Riley, Steve Kerr, Ty Lue, and Nick Nurse. So all of those come with some.
3 of them got fired.
Yeah, the Warriors team was almost ready to go, and Ty Lue obviously had LeBron, and Nick Nurse got Kawhi all of a sudden. So, Brew, could LA win a title?
It's interesting. I think of those coaches. The coach that made the most difference was Kerr. Because that team seemed like it had a second-round ceiling.
Yeah, he changed
just
their offense,
offense.
And Draymond started starting and things.
He unlocked Steph to become.
And you're a Mark Jackson fan,
right? Mark did a great job, but Kerr took him to another level. No, I don't think with this roster, and their hands are tied. I mean, they're gonna have a tough, especially. I guess D'Angelo Russell would opt out, but if he doesn't, their hands are really tied. And so I just think this is a good roster. I think Hurley might make them a little better, but their stars, the Lakers superstars, aren't really improving. You would think LeBron at best would stay where he was last year.
He's probably going to get worse.
AD,
so that's
could
to me
he
the question.
improve some?
AD's going to get. AD played out of his mind and played.
Yeah, I know. I'm just wondering, could
the Olympics.
Could Hurley take it to a little higher level? Maybe. I don't know, but I know. You know what I do know? Minnesota's going to be better.
Correct.
Dallas should be better.
Correct.
OKC should be better.
Yep.
That's not even mentioning the teams out east. So,
I don't know that Dallas will be better, for the record.
Really?
Well, yeah, I mean, Dallas, I think they're going to win the title. So I don't know that they'll necessarily be better. You know what I mean?
Well, that
you see him better than the 5.
If Kyrie stays focused,
maybe. In general, I agree with your point. The answer to this, the only way the answer to this is yes, is once upon a time in Anthony Davis's career, we looked at him as, he should at least be in the conversation, if not the definitive best player in the league. 3 years into his career, that's what it looked like he was going to be. Mm-hmm. And then he got to a level and, actually took a slight step back and then got back to that level and just kind of stayed there. You know what I mean? Which is firmly in that 8th to 12th best player in the league place. The question is, he's the same generation age really as Giannis and those guys. Can he level up under a better coach?
No.
That's the question.
Does anyone think the answer is yes?
Well, my point is,
it's not going to be a huge leap, but could he get a little better?
Could he get in the
second team? Is he first team
All-NBA? Well, that's the question. I mean, but the thing is, he was regularly
6 years ago,
right? And so, but he's not. That if the health maintains what it was this past year, I'm not saying I'm predicting this, but to answer this question, the only way the answer to this question is yes, is if Anthony Davis is a frontline MVP candidate. And
I don't see him getting that high. Like, he'd have to be a monster night in and night out, and that's what I don't see.
I thought I had you.
What do you mean?
I wrote down on my sheet, you're literally saying the Celtics can't win because they don't have a top 5 guy. And he switched it on me.
No, I didn't switch it on you.
He saw it coming.
What do they call me, Wildes? Right, I'm consistent. If you don't have the guy, so the only answer is if AD were to become that guy, which maybe is one of the reasons. That is where. As Don Draper would say, that's what the money's for the coaches. Okay. Like, the idea would be that Dan Hurley can develop Austin Reeves, can help the young players whoever they draft.
Better,
but then also, can you get a superstar who I think it's fair to say has not reached maximum potential, but is not aged out of his prime yet, to unlock that last level of potential? That would be the hope.
Yeah. You made an interesting point, though. Hurley's had recruiting class. I know this one coming in is great, but you know what I mean? That haven't been spectacular.
Yeah.
And they said this about Brad Stevens, too. Have you had this blue chip type player on your team? So how many guys like Davis has he worked with?
Well, no, it's more of a democratized, and Josh pulled the numbers. Like, it's the UConn offenses and teams are democratized. Like, hey, everyone's scoring 16, and you're getting guys drafted.
I can't believe you thought I was going to contradict my long-standing belief about NBA champions. I can't believe it.
Almost got you.
You couldn't have been further from getting me.
Is Luka the greatest Mav ever?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.